For more than 60 years, Victoria has relied on her almost boundless supply of Latrobe Valley brown coal, a vast natural energy resource to power the SEC generators which light up our lives. The SEC also relies on another great natural resource: thousands of working men and women, SEC people. People who together have striven to make 1984 in particular a year of achievement. February the 16th, 1984, was the first anniversary of an event we all wish had never happened. If the destruction and horror of Ash Wednesday has proved anything, it's that the community can never again gamble with bushfire safety. Trees and power lines do not mix, and no effort may be spared towards making this state fire safe. Tony Wilson is Chief Engineer Distribution with the SEC. He vividly remembers those fires, and now he heads the entire SEC bushfire prevention effort.
The bushfire mitigation program can't be divorced from our general system maintenance requirements in the rural areas, in particular the bushfire prone areas. We've put the whole work program on a priority basis. The top priority job is tree cutting, because that is identified as the single highest incidence of bushfire problems. The major lesson we've learned since Ash Wednesday is that we can never relax our effort. We cannot afford to stop and sit back and say we've done enough. Bushfire mitigation works are the top priority job that the whole supply group is engaged upon. Nothing takes priority over it. Tree cutting alone costs us in excess of $10 million, and it's combined with our own forces and contractual forces. The second most important task we're on about is pole replacement and asset repair and maintenance. That program would be in excess of $20 million. There are some 3,000 people, directly or indirectly, involved in the bushfire mitigation program. 1,600 people out there in the field doing things, and the rest of them in the office or in the stores supporting them and providing equipment for them.
July of 1984 will surely be remembered as one solid month of highlights for the SEC and the government. The establishment of the Coal Corporation of Victoria on July the 9th as a separately identified business of the SEC was an important step in the management of Victoria's brown coal resource. One of its initiatives will be the marketing to private industry of some 5 million tons of brown coal a year from the new Loyang open cut in the Latrobe Valley. This coal is seen as an ideal feedstock for the production of high-purity coal-derived products, perhaps anode and activated carbons, or the exciting new world of carbon fibers. Victoria's brown coal resource can now be seen as a potentially important force in Victoria's future economic development. Then, on July the 25th, an energy tariff announcement with a difference. The SEC announced that the electricity tariff increase would be the smallest in 11 years, and well under the inflation rate, as was last year's increase. Certainly, the new tariffs mean a boost in the real value of electricity to customers. There were other benefits for customers too, with the government's winter concession for the disadvantaged and the introduction of a new method of paying bills called Easy Way. As well, work began on the development of new extension procedures to give a better deal to people wanting to connect to supply away from built-up areas. Electricity sales picked up with the upturn in the economy, particularly in the building industry, although this did cause problems in keeping up with the demand for new connections in the fast-growing suburbs on Melbourne's fringe. Changes in customer procedures reflect a positive change in the direction of management in the SEC. And now, there's an important new management philosophy plan, one which will be shaped and refined during the next few months and seems likely to mould a new and exciting SEC future. It's a simple concept with a simple name: strategy planning. Neil Richards is a business planner with the SEC's new Corporate Planning Directorate. Like many people in the SEC, anticipating the future is one of the things Neil is paid for. But the best thoughts and ideas don't always wait until the working week.
If you look at the way you go about fishing, you've got to decide what sort of fishing you want to be in. Then you've got to decide what sort of fish you're after, what range of fish. And having made those basic decisions, you need then to make sure you've got the right equipment, the right lines, and you've got to go to the right beach at the right times. So again, it's getting back to selecting what you want to do, rigging yourself up for it, and then going after it. And in many respects, a business is exactly the same thing, that you have to decide what business you want to be in. Are we here to generate electricity? Are we here purely to transmit electricity? Or are we here to provide electrical services? And strategic planning basically is that, is to provide a corporate direction. And in the SEC, what we're talking about is trying to find and maintain a unified sense of direction. I guess a unanimity of purpose is really what we're after. So that we're all on the same, if you like, we're all in the same train and we're all going down the same direction and pulling together. We're all on the same beach, casting into the water at the same time. It's a teamwork effect.
Strategy planning is well established in most overseas industries, but is new to Australian business management. Many believe it can provide a new stepping stone towards a more effective, efficient, and exciting SEC. On the 31st of July, the announcement the whole state had waited for. The $1 billion Alcoa smelter project at Portland would go ahead.
Well, it is with great satisfaction that Sir R.V. Pardo and I announced today that the Portland smelter will go ahead. We've set in train today what is one of the biggest and most important private sector developments in the state's history. And I want to say that how pleased I am personally.
The giant, which had been dormant and deserted since 1982, would be restarted.
It's a wonderful thing for the town. It's a wonderful thing for the unemployed particularly. There's a lot of opportunity and it's an excellent thing, I think, for the whole area, the whole district, the whole of the Western District.
It's been pretty hard and everyone's just looking forward to getting back to where it was before. A bit of cream on the old cake, I reckon.
Well, I think that there are two things. I think there must be an enormous amount of satisfaction amongst the people that have worked so hard on the Loyang project and, of course, on this transmission line project. They must derive an enormous amount of satisfaction from knowing that now that is going to be a real, make a real contribution to Victoria. The second thing, of course, is financially. We will be receiving something like $150 million in revenue from the Point Henry and Portland smelter when they are both in operation. So it's big dollars for the SEC as well.
The new 500,000 volt Portland transmission line was completed on schedule in October 1983. And now the impact of this decision on the SEC's electrical load and income will be realized. Then, on the first sunny September Sunday, perhaps the biggest event of the year.
Well, today is the day we've been looking forward to since the 15th of February 1977, when construction first began on this site.
You stand inside the site, against that power station building, you look towards the vast open cut. It all overwhelms you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have very great pleasure in declaring the Loyang A power station officially open.
Loyang. The station many said would never be built. The biggest and most sophisticated power station project the SEC has ever undertaken. Despite some problems in its early years, Loyang is now poised to become the largest contributor to Victoria's electricity supply. Everything about this project is supersized. A station is planned to have a capacity of 2,000 megawatts, enough to meet half the peak demand of the whole Melbourne metropolitan area. Progress at Loyang was never easy. In 1981, a bold change was needed in its control. It was called project management, and it meant that from 1981 on, this man, George Bates, would be chosen to hold personal responsibility for the entire $5 billion project.
Well, it was a mixed reaction. I took on the project at the time with some fear, I guess, on the one hand as to whether I had the capability and recognising the challenge, and I've always looked for challenge in my work. Project management is in its infancy in the SEC. We've made giant steps as far as this project is concerned. Project definition, objectives, responsibility, accountability. There's no end in sight to the benefits that can be to the Commission out of project management. I believe that the guys here, particularly on the site, began to see the objectives, and they began to see also that those objectives were obtainable. And this is the first 500 megawatt boiler that has been commissioned in the Southern Hemisphere. It's been basically designed by SEC people. It's been constructed by SEC people. And it does a lot of credit to the technical ability of the people in the Commission who've worked very, very hard to get that unit to where it is today. I can't heap enough praise on that group of people.
Victorians began to benefit from this power station with the operation of its first unit, early in 1984. Indeed, Loyang will become the hub of the SEC's brown coal power generation plant. It's this success story at Loyang which, more than any other single event, sums up a triumphant year for the SEC. 1984 has been a year marked by the challenge of change, the success of negotiations, and huge project development, always through deep personal commitments towards a common goal. In every sense, this 1984 has indeed been a year of achievement.